Black Monday is here. Thomas Brown is talking. So is Caleb. We got a full show for you. We're moving forward into 2025. The CHGO Bears Podcast starts right now. Welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast on a very busy Monday. It is Black Monday, and the Bears are 1-0 in 2025. Adam Hoge, Lance Briggs, Herb Howard.
Red Monday. Me and Brax, we call it Red Monday.
Yeah, and
too many dark days fall on black. You know,
it's always
uncomfortable.
Black Monday, Black Magic, Black Widow. Yeah, all the bad stuff is us.
Blackballed.
Blackballed. It's always.
I completely agree. I think there should be a solid movement going on, and we should rename it. So I appreciate you guys leading it, and you got a first follower right here.
Pink Slip Monday.
Pink Slip Monday. I like that one.
There you go.
Get the hell out of here, Black Monday. Who the hell are they going to hire soon, Monday? Yeah.
I was talking about this earlier with that guy, Greg Braggs, you may have heard of. I feel like weird about it, but like oddly, this Monday morning is saying it's one of my favorite days is not the right way to put it. But there's like a certain adrenaline that comes to it. The amount of news that comes flowing at like 8 a.m. on this Monday.
Definitely one of those days.
You got to be up early.
It's just that adrenaline starts to go, and it's let me just say it's one of the more entertaining days of the NFL calendar for horrible reasons.
That's a fact. But you still pop up out of bed. You're like, ooh, what is it?
Yeah.
What is it? Because the wheels of the NFL get to spinning, and then all of the ancillary things come. It's like this domino effect. Like this happens, and then that happens, and it's like, oh, the Patriots fired their coach. Okay, so Mike Vrabel's going here, and then so what does that mean for this team? What does that mean? Like,
it does weirdly feel, weirdly is the wrong word, but it does kind of feel like the Bears are already out on Mike Vrabel because he's going to land in New England because all signs point to him.
I'd be shocked if he wasn't the Patriots head coach in like 10 minutes.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like that could break during the show. It almost feels like, well, who can we get in there to interview to fulfill the Rooney Rule? Let's be done with it.
I got one tiny little caveat question though into that because I agree with you. I mean, that if you're making that move, it seems like it was for Vrabel. What if Ben Johnson loves Drake May?
I'm
just saying.
And there is an interview there.
Yeah, they requested to interview him, so that would tell you this thing's not going to get done today with Vrabel. Although it could. He's the one guy who's completely free and clear of his contract and could sign right now if he wanted to. But if they want to talk to Ben Johnson, and Ben Johnson's looking at like, oh, you're not going to fire Trent Baalke in Jacksonville, and what's going on with the power struggle in Chicago? Well, here's stable ownership with the Kraft family, and again, that all probably depends on how he feels about Drake May. But I think Drake May very quietly might have had the most consistent season of all the rookie quarterbacks.
What about having negotiation power too?
Yeah,
you know, a lot of things are going on in all these different organizations. Ben Johnson, you know, this is my 1, 2, 3. All right, top 1, 2, or 3. I'm going to walk in here and I'm going to say, listen, this is where I want to be. But these are basically my demands. You know, you meet my demands, I stay here, or I move to number 2.
I'm all for people like striking while it's hot, and I'm not a hater. But I do have a question. Where did he get so much darn leverage? When did he get to the very peak of the NFL mountain to say, I'm going to go wherever I want to, and if you also want me to come in the door, I need this GM, I need this, I need that, I need this control over the roster, It's like, bruh, you called a good play. You called a few good plays for Dan Campbell's team with a great offensive line and 2 dudes on your offense that have 4.2 speed and 2 backs 4,000. Like I'm not dissing him, right? I would be happy if he was the Bears head coach. But how does this even happen to where he gets to this space where it's like, hey, you write your own ticket?
Well,
they were Washington was on a plane to Detroit last year, and he's like, no, I'm good. I mean, he's been cold-blooded to the team, so I got to hand it to Ben Johnson. I think he's handled this really well the last 2 years. Basically turns down the Panthers 2 years ago, said he wasn't ready, said he's got unfinished business in Detroit. It did the same thing last year, and he's backed it up on the field. They have the number 2 offense efficiency since he became the play caller in Detroit over 3 years. That's an eternity for an OC in today's NFL.
That's real.
It's crazy to have 2 1,000-yard rushers.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, and you watch Jahmyr Gibbs play. It's like, what are you? Are you a combination of Jamal Charles and
he's a problem.
Anthony? I mean, he is. It is.
And I also remember everybody like poo-pooing that pick.
Yeah, they're like,
they took him like 6th in a year where they was like, you're taking a running back 6th?
I mean, that is one of the most fun guys to watch in football. For me to answer your question, Herb, it's like he's winning in Detroit. They should have gone to the Super Bowl last year. Jared Goff. People thought the Lions were, losing that trade. They're winning that trade. He's done a great job positioning himself.
Agreed.
Do we think that the best news of the day for the Bears was that Trent Baalke is staying in Jacksonville? Was that about as good as it could have gotten?
It seemed like it. I mean, speaking of guys that have done what to have power, what is Trent Baalke? This guy's like bulletproof. I don't get it. He has survived in 2 different stops. He's survived I think it's 5 or 6 different head coaching changes, and he hasn't won anything. I don't, and nobody seems to like him either. It's unbelievable.
I like him. Listen,
you do?
Well, it goes back some time. You know what I mean? So Trent Baalke, when he was with the 49ers, he had me rated as a first round. Had a first round grade.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I grew up in the Sacramento Valley. So.
He should have the top of his resume, by the way, right there.
Right.
He still took Patrick Willis.
He said, he did. But he said he wasn't allowed to pick me, So while I was playing for the Bears, he said, I wanted to trade for you. So they wanted to trade, he said, and then we had a, a tampering case. And I lost 3 compensatory picks because of it. Wow. So, you know what I mean? So,
okay.
Just not saying that he's doing a great job right now, but I do tip my hat to him, He knew at least he was great on one player.
We're going to continue to go through all I would have the same exact thought, by the way.
That's great and all, but hopefully Ben Johnson doesn't want to work with him.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. I mean, I thought that was a big celebration moment for the Bears today. Look, we'll get through all the rumors here. We're going to hear from the Bears locker room. We were all out there today talking to Tevin Jenkins. Had some interesting things to say about his future. DeMarcus Walker calling out the leadership. But I'm curious, Lance, when you hear Bears players today, earlier in the season, I mean, Hoge, Herb, you guys hear the same thing as far as they want a leader, that the locker room, in essence, in some way, shape, or form, fell apart here. That Hoge asked him, DeMarcus Walker, about Mike Vrabel, and he's like, we get rid of some of the BS. And I'm sitting there wondering, how come no players on this team in the moment were willing to step into being not liked as much, but being a leader there? How when you look at the Bears right now, how big of a concern issue do you think that is going forward?
Well, it's a concern issue, but you're right. But it does. He's right in the sense that, I've seen it from the standpoint, I always refer to the Trestman years, and when Trestman was there, Josh McCown, God bless him, he was the one person that was in Trestman's ear that when me and Peanut would do something as far as leadership and try to take leadership roles, a lot of times we were kind of cut. He would cut us at the knees a little bit, and he would keep us from doing certain things and say, oh, hey, listen, and really want to point that leadership toward Cutler, and Brandon Marshall, and Josh would always tell him, he's like, listen, you already have established leaders. He's like, you have established leaders on this team. He was like, those are the guys that you want to lean on. If you want to get something done, go through them. So there was always this weird power struggle because he wanted his guys to be the leaders, and Peanut and I were the leaders. So when he says, let's get rid of the BS, having a coach that comes in and can recognize it, instead of trying to force a leader in the room recognize who the guys are following and follow on. And a lot of times, when guys vote, they say, hey, we're voting for a captain. Typically, they vote the guys that they will follow.
Yeah. I also think it's up to, like, the coach to put teeth in it, right? So it's one thing for your brother to be like, hey, don't do that. And that's cool. And even if my big brother, I'll listen to an extent. But if dad comes home, he's like, wait, what happened? Oh, okay, no big deal, right?
Yeah.
Then there's not a lot I can do. So Jalen Johnson can be like, yo, Tyreek, what the F are you doing messing around with the crowd in the critical play of the game? Oh, my bad. But then if the head coach comes in, it's like, oh, okay, well, you can't play for the first 5 minutes of the game.
Mm-hmm.
You're in timeout.
Yeah, like
you're going to the penalty box, 5-minute major.
Eventually, it's like, okay, next time you go into the store and this dude is doing backflips off the refrigerator, I'm not going to say anything.
Right.
So you come home and he's just on the floor with his neck broke, whatever, because you didn't do nothing last time I told you.
Well, Thomas Brown in his final press conference today, I thought he did a phenomenal job representing himself, and he was asked directly about the Tyreek thing, and he's like, sometimes direct confrontation is needed.
Boy, there were some very not so subtle shots at Matt Eberflus in there, and I don't even think he meant them as shots. It's just like the reality of the situation.
I would have done it differently.
Like, when he was talking about how stunned he is working in this business sometimes at how afraid people are with confrontation and afraid, I'm like, as he's saying that, I'm standing in the back of our room being like, oh, wow, that is a direct shot at what's been going on here. And look, I think Thomas Brown is past the point of being a fan favorite for this job. He didn't win enough games, but this is probably an unpopular opinion. If they don't land Ben Johnson, if they don't land Mike Vrabel, and this thing's the pool shrinks, I still think they could do a lot worse than Thomas Brown. Thomas Brown seems to have an understanding of what was going wrong here, and I understand it's a little bit of a reach, and it might not end well, but I said this to you, Herb, in the locker room earlier.
Yeah,
I still feel like he's going to be a good head coach somewhere in this league. I just feel like he has the qualities that we've been sitting here talking about and pleading for all season. And even if it didn't result in the wins and losses, I think there's enough evidence here, and especially in the last couple of weeks, that he was starting to make a difference with guys like Tyreek Stevenson and the way they came out and played in Green Bay. Let's not completely ignore that. I mean, that matters at least a little bit.
Okay, so if let's say we do keep Thomas Brown, what does that do to the staff? Because there's staff. We need staff cleanup.
That ain't his staff. You don't got to keep them people.
Agreed. But if let's say he keeps the offensive line coach, we have a problem. I
don't think he would, though.
It doesn't have. That ain't
because here, let me just real quick add another question I asked him directly today, which was, if you were to get a second year with Caleb, and I wasn't even necessarily asking that as like just head coach, like maybe he ends up being the OC and comes back, like whatever it is. The question is, if you get a second year with Caleb, how different would this offense be? And without hesitation, he goes, it'd be a lot different. And so I take that as probably coaches are different, scheme is different, and then he went on to talk about how his pitch to Ryan Poles and Kevin Warren and who else he meets with will be about, tailoring this all to the personnel that they have. And I think he was desperately trying to do that on short notice this season. And they're just, this Lance, you can't. There's only so much you can install in November, man. You're already past that.
Ship's already halfway down. It's already sinking.
It's just about tweaking play calling at that point. You can't really change. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you just tweak the play calling or some of those things. You can give a different speech. But I'm with you on everything he said, from the culture pieces to tailoring the offense around the personnel and to what's been wrong here, right? Like, I asked him that question about what have you learned here about how much it takes the entire organization to be on the same page. Like, man, these people scared to deal with something, right?
Well, and that's what he underlined with himself and Caleb too. That like, hey, he's got to be coached. He wants to be coached. I'm here to coach him.
I don't have to be his friend,
right? I
don't have to be. We can be, but I don't got to be.
And that's what he needs. And like, to shout out my own question. I had like a million that I would have asked, but I just decided on. How far away do you think you guys were? He gave a sobering answer. The division is really good.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't think it's necessarily one player or one coach or whatever, but like more the culture of the room. Like, so he is underlining the talent there, but he also said, like, look, man, That is Detroit, and that is Minnesota. And if so I don't know. He just seems very grounded in reality, which is
And calm down, everybody in the chat. I don't think Thomas Brown is going to be the head coach of the Chicago Bears. My point is, though, you start to look at the candidates, and to me, the pool kind of falls off a cliff pretty quickly after the top guys. So I'm not sitting here trying to say that he should be the head coach over Ben Johnson or anything, but
any idea that there are 5-6 dudes sitting on their couches or playing somewhere or whatever that can come in here and be a great head coach? That's just not true. It's not 32 of them in the world, so it's definitely not 6 that aren't currently doing it.
It wasn't even 10 a.m. this morning. We got Drew Petzing interviewing for the job.
I like Petzing.
Nobody in our chat has heard of Drew Petzing. Okay, like that's my point, and how quickly this thing. You know what they're talking about? I just talked to Bo Brack from PHNX on All NFL. You know what he's talking about in Arizona today as they're doing the Cardinal show? Is Drew Petzing going to get fired as the OC?
Oh, then he'll definitely be the Bears.
Bro, they're right. That's the Matt Eberflus playbook.
Yeah.
Hire the guy who might get fired.
Petzing, though, has a very fascinating background. He shares the same birthday as my aunt, the great Aunt Deb, R.I.P. And he also went to Middlebury College D3, where my girlfriend won 2 NCAA hockey championships, excuse me.
So Petzing, that's your guy.
Petzing is my guy. I'm a Petzing guy. I think, I don't know what happened with Petzing back in the day. And when just call Petzing Putzing? That's
no, you.
Oh. Okay, I got it. Hey, we'll get into what went on in the locker room. We're going to hear from DeMarcus Walker. We'll hear from Tevin. Tevin Jenkins on his future coming up here. It was pretty interesting here. What's happening?
Gary Ross took that personally, that I said the chat didn't know Drew. Gary, that wasn't a shot at you. That was a shot at Drew Petzing.
We know that you know.
Settle
Gary.
down.
We know that you know. What you also know or should know is that our friends at Hooters are with us, and this is just an outstanding new sponsor that we are adding here as the original Hooters is with us here. And look, it's a new year. Are you feeling bold? Hooters has got the new mango habanero wing sauce. They've got the chicken tenders and fries, or the chicken tender tacos and fries. For how much? $9.99. The price is right. That's what I'm talking about. How about the $6 legendary margarita? I might go there right after the show to the location on Wells.
Let's do it.
All day, every day. I saw that look, Briggs. $6. You can't get water for $6 anymore. You get an all-day margarita, the legendary margarita at Hooters. Now, look. And by the way, yes, of course, it's the NFL playoffs. So cheer on your favorite teams from any of the 11 Chicagoland Hooters locations: Countryside, Downers Grove, Joliet, Lansing, Melrose Park, Oaklawn, O'Hare, Schaumburg, and yes, my favorite right down here on Wall Street. You can order online, pick up or delivery. Check them out, originalhooters.com.
Yeah, I was driving down here from House Hall, and I was stressing out about when the heck I was going to eat lunch today.
Oh, delicious. Delicious.
And walked in here, and there's a Hooters party going on, and I'm like, let's go. It was
There is a guys.
So clutch.
I was so hurry walking in. I came in, and Lance is over there just in. There's like 7 trays of wings over there. And I'm like, oh, yeah, let's go.
And they were strong. Let's be real.
Wings were outstanding. Another one of our fine partners that we love, Circa Sportsbook, whether it's pro or college, the app to bet football, you know this, is Circa Sports Illinois. Circa Sports, it's sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service. Bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season. Spreads, props, futures, or in-game, Circa Sports has it. Fund and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circasports.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, let's get inside the locker room here. And why don't we tee up Tevin first? Because, look, this guy, I enjoyed Tevin while he was here. It doesn't feel like Tevin's going to be back. I think Tevin would like to be back, but Tevin gave a very interesting answer about whether or not he was going to be back. So this was Tevin, a little snippet from him earlier in the locker room today. Always being first class. Tevin's been that to the media his entire time he was here, a.k.a. to you, the fan, always making himself available. Here's Tevin in the locker room today.
I'd say one thing about this team is definitely that stood out was definitely resilience. A lot of things didn't go our way, especially offensively. We came in there with a lot of big expectations, and just a lot of things didn't go our way. And as the whole offense, as the whole year got through, we just had to start faster. That was all.
Tevin, do you think you'll be back?
Don't have an answer for you.
So are you prepared to just go out into free agency and ready for a move? Or
into that.
what would you like to happen?
Toss-up.
You say toss-up?
Toss-up. What would you like to have happen? Toss-up. Are you mentally ready to go into free agency? Or are you ready to go mentally? Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Toss-up. You guys want to jump in on what you think that means?
I mean, I know what toss-up means. I don't like that as his answer in terms of what does he want to be back. Now, the rest of it we can deal with, but do you want to be back? Toss-up. Ain't nobody done nothing to you. It's
an honest answer, though. He gave his honest
feeling. But what has anybody done to him? When you're healthy, you start and you play. Nobody's done anything to make you unhealthy.
I think what it sounds to me is he didn't want to say I'm closing the door on the Bears, but I'm also, I want to see what my value is.
Sure.
But I don't want to say that I'm done with the Bears, so it's a toss-up.
Yeah.
It's a toss-up.
Jason had some question in there too, Jason Leisure, about, if going back to his first year, remember they couldn't figure out where to play him.
Right.
They moved him around a little bit. Every player's got to deal with that stuff, so I'm not trying to make excuses for him, but he did ask him, like, did you want to leave here after your first year? And he said no, but I do in terms of like the idea of what anybody did to Tevin. I mean, this hasn't exactly been a smooth road on the Bears side of things either. I mean, he needs to stay healthy. He knows that. He only finished 9 games. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things where his game starts when you look on Football Reference. The season's gonna be a little misleading because he only finished 9 of them. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, he hasn't exactly been here during the smoothest years for the Chicago Bears.
Oh, that's definitely true, and you got to take that into account. And he has been a team player. They've actually been played right tackle, right guard, left guard, switch all across, and that's fine. I remember it was like a year into him going into guard, and I asked him, I said, do you feel like a guard yet? And he's like, no, I'm still a tackle, but I'm just doing what the team needs me to do. Then the next year, he was like, okay, I've accepted I'm a guard, and I'm cool with it. So, no, he hasn't been here for the smoothest times. Nobody has. Not Jalen, nobody. It just is what it is. But I'm saying the biggest factor between Tevin Jenkins and a $70 million contract is his dependability. Mm-hmm. So he's finished 9 games. He probably at some point came out of those 9 games too, at least for a series or a few snaps. Like, I like him when he's healthy. I like him as a person, but I need to depend on those 5 dudes.
I mean, the question to me is somebody in the NFL going to pay Tevin Jenkins big money? Because if they don't, then he might end up back here.
You're gonna have a prove it deal wherever he goes.
Prove it deal.
It could be
There's coaches out there. There's coaches out there that have coached him before, that are familiar with him, that are going to say, hey, listen, this guy can help us.
I think he'll get paid decently, but it'll be a short-term. Short-term deal.
And just one more on the offensive line with everything up in the air. Does anyone here see even the remotest scenario that they would take the best player on the offensive line, Darnell Wright, who's still coming into hopefully being an elite player at some point? Can anybody ever imagine him going from right tackle to left?
I don't see that. Not as they can continue to pair him to Penei Sewell, right? He's one of the best players in the league, and he plays right tackle. The league ain't the same no more where it's this blind side, right side thing. Okay. It's whatever, you know?
All right.
Yeah, and that was kind of the knock on him coming in anyway, that he wasn't going to be a left tackle. So, but he was supposed to be an all-pro right tackle.
Right, but so if assuming that that's, and I agree, by the way, I assume they're not going to move Darnell. So that means you're either drafting a left tackle high or you're paying one, right? Yeah. So that is a significant investment either which way you're going into the offseason.
And that's a problem because you drafted one in the 3rd round, and 3rd-round picks are supposed to develop into starters. Right. They might not be day 1 starters like 1st, 2nd-round picks, but they're supposed to turn into starters. And now you can't have any faith that Karan Amagaji is going to turn into a left tackle starter in this league. And so now you have to go invest heavily in one. And if I take one in the 1st round, or if I pay one X amount of millions of dollars, then the Karan Amagaji experiment is either over or delayed through his rookie contract.
Right.
So
never got off the ground unless you're going to move him inside the guard.
Well, no, but that's what I was about to say is it's not just left tackle. They're going to have to invest some real resources into some of these other positions too. I'm looking at Trey Smith with the Chiefs, who's going to be a free agent. Mm-hmm. I mean, guys,
he gets out the door. I don't think they let him out.
I was reading that they might have to, given their situation. They've really been up with it with the contracts. But
they can do some restructuring.
Yeah, and I don't off the top of my head, I haven't gotten. I mean, it's only been we're 24 hours removed, not even from
Not
the Bears
even
beating
from
the
the end of the
Packers.
season,
I haven't
right.
dove into every team's franchise tag situation yet, but we'll get there. But that's a big one. Yeah.
Let's make one more stop in the locker room. DeMarcus Walker was asked a ton of things. I started it out here, and we get to Hoge gets him on Vrabel. It's really good stuff here. But I just asked him, like, hey, is it too simple just to put this all back to the Washington game? And that's where the season went off the rails, and he had a pretty interesting response to that.
Is it too simple to say that the Hail Mary in Washington has changed the season?
I feel like it maybe took a few people's soul. You know what I'm saying? You know, not me. I feel like, you know what, you got to go back and start back fighting. You know what I'm saying? No matter, you know, what is given. But yeah, I mean, that Washington game was something that tore. Obviously, I feel like it definitely put a dagger in a lot of people.
Why the laughter? Like when you think about that?
Because that was so long ago.
Oh.
How would you describe the release of emotion that players felt yesterday afternoon when that game ended?
Come on, man. I mean, honestly, I hate to say it. You know, I feel like, you know, I've been watching this game for so long, but, like, you know, that was very, like, I saw people in the comments saying that was our Super Bowl, which, I mean, it's bigger because it's a rivalry, you know, how far back it goes, you know, with the Packers and the Bears, but then to where they know they shouldn't have beat us the first time, you know what I'm saying? You know, so to get them back this time was definitely, you know, bittersweet.
You obviously know how heavy that losing streak was because it goes back from before the Hail Mary game.
Yeah. I mean,
for the players that'll be back, how important is it to not have to carry that weight through the next 8 months that you guys got that out of the way yesterday?
I mean, any relationship, you know, especially you got to let it go. You got to move on to the new and then figure out how, you know, to learn from this. And it's not like Coach E said something, you know, that's not, you know, the end, it's the beginning of something. So we just have to be able to, you know, dial in and guys take care of themselves this offseason and come back fighting.
The defensive rankings went down as the season went on. Why do you think that was, and how fast can it be fixed in an off season?
I feel like, you know, when Coach E took over, he had to get the, like, understanding the type of system he was in and the guys he had and calling plays himself. And once he got the understanding, like, you know, all right, there's the skill set I have, you know, of the guys I have, all right, let me work around that. I feel like he did a great job, you know, from holding Seahawks to 0 touchdowns into, you know, giving Green Bay a fight yesterday.
If Mike Vrabel was the person that came in here as the head coach, what would your reaction be?
I knew when I was going to ask me that question. I knew it. If Vrabel come here, tell you what, a lot of bullshit's going to get cut out. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sorry, you know, but that's the truth, though. You know what I'm saying? I feel like discipline will be laid right down from the first day. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of those small things that, you know, we've done and gotten away with, that won't happen no more. You know, so just from my personal experience, not saying, oh, this is what I've been there. So
A lot of bullshit, small things.
Gonna be cut out.
Yeah. I'll, if you missed it last week, I'd encourage you to go, you know, scroll through our YouTube channel for the conversation with Kevin Byard on Vrabel. He said a lot of the same stuff over the course of a 7-minute conversation. I don't think that's happening anymore. Well,
you don't think what's happening anymore?
Vrabel coming to the Bears?
Oh yeah, right. No, I agree. Yeah, but that doesn't change what they need. That's Greg Braggs,
what's up,
by the way.
Lance?
Gregory P. Allen Braggs in for Briggs.
You got a Briggs before you can brag.
Black magic.
Black magic, yeah.
The P stands for profitable because that's what you are every day, buddy. You just make money.
That's right.
Falls out of you. Look.
Never take a loss.
I thought it was interesting that he kind of underlined why was the defense slowing down. Well, it took Eric Washington a little while to figure out how to call these things. Like there was
That's reflected in the results, though.
Yeah.
I mean, because he looked completely lost against the 49ers in the first few weeks he's calling plays. I mean, that defense was already kind of headed the wrong direction, but they went from still, you know, keeping the Bears in games against the Detroit Lions and the Minnesota Vikings and the Green Bay Packers to just falling off a cliff. And then all of a sudden, against Seattle, they played well, and I wasn't sure how that would carry over to Green Bay, but and they got a little bit of help. I mean,
Yeah, but the Niners were banged up too, and they provided no resistance to them.
Right? Yeah. So I do think there's some truth in that Eric Washington, it would have been fascinating if he had another month of calling plays, what it would have looked like. But I don't think he's, going to be back here next year or calling plays elsewhere.
Did get better the last couple games against Seattle and Green Bay.
There's been a lot of stuff coming out either about or from the assistant coaches that raises a lot of red flags. I know we up against it, but when we come back from break, there's just been things that I've been hearing from position coaches, from coordinators, from interim head coaches that's like, what the hell has been going on around here then?
I agree.
Yep. All right, let's do that coming on back here. How far away are the Bears? We'll take a little guesstimation at that. But first, shout out to our friends at Factor Meal Kits, ready to optimize your nutrition this year. Get rid of the cherry Dr. whatever Braggs was having today. Factor has the chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well easy. They're dietitian approved, ready to heat in 2 minutes. You can fuel yourself right, feel great no matter what life is throwing at you, no matter who you have to work with on a daily basis. Lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks with Factor Keto meals. It's based on a randomized controlled clinical trial with the Factor Keto. I mean, it's the good stuff. 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week. Easy to pick meals tailored to your goals. Choose from preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto, all the good stuff. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/CHGO Bears 50 off. Use that code CHGO Bears 50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code CHGO Bears 50 off at factormeals.com/CHGO Bears 50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box.
Next week, Krista and I are going to go to Nashville to go see the Blackhawks play the Predators. And, they got silly rules down there about buying tickets from out of state because they're trying to keep all the Blackhawks fans out of there. So you know what I did? I went to Game Time.
There you go.
I went to Game Time because Game Time is the best way to get tickets, especially last minute. But I was planning ahead in this instance. Game Time is a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out all the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets to find the best value. They got the super deal they will show you. Their app is really intuitive. You just you click on it, you can see it right there. The best seats pop up for you, and then you click on it, you got your views from your seats.
That's my favorite part.
Yeah, they show you exactly where you're sitting, what it's going to look like, and also they covered you with the best ticket coverage that exists. Your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time, and your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
All right, let's do it there, Herb Howard. Sounds like you've been annoyed by what you're hearing around House. Yeah, go.
Ooh, we got a couple more coaches coming in here.
Let's hear them.
According to Adam Schefter,
Shefty on the move.
Bears have requested head coaching interviews with the Vikings defensive coordinator Brian Flores. And get this one.
Make it good.
Steelers offensive coordinator
Arthur
Smith.
Shout out to Gary in the chat bringing that too.
Did he say Schefter said it, or did Gary try?
Gary
try to take credit?
No, not take.
Schefter?
Not take. He
Gary
is
had it
our
first.
intrepid reporter, insider, and we trust his information.
Did Schefter cite Gary?
And reporting. Yeah, exactly.
Gary greater than Schefter. I got no problem saying that.
No, but Carman, for so long we keep hearing things around, Hallis Hall, cooperation and these collaborative efforts, and we've all got conviction. We've been hearing these things for years and years and years. But just in Eberflus's tenure, we hear these same types of things. And now that he's gone, immediately, Thomas Brown comes to the podium. He's like, well, we got to all get on the same page. We got to be more physical. And we got to start laying down the law. Coach Morton Chad, the running backs coach, he's doing his bit the other day. And he's like, man, Pete Carroll used to do this and Pete Carroll used to do that. And the question was a fair question about Pete Carroll as a candidate. But as he went on and on and on and on, I couldn't help but then ask him, whoa, if you thought all those things were great and those things aren't happening here, did you never have the freedom to say, hey, maybe we should go about it this way, right? And you just keep hearing those things. The more and more you talk to guys, you talk to players, and this should have been happening, that should have been happening. It's like all spring and all summer, I wasn't hearing this discord about like, oh, I kind of disagree with what's happening here, or maybe we should tweak this, or maybe we should tweak that. And you don't have to say that publicly, but I would think y'all should be able to say those things behind closed doors in a way that would produce a different result. That's what coaching is. That's what an organization, that's what a team is. Even at the high school level, am I wrong? Like, we going to disagree, but we should be able to disagree and have arguments and fights and whatever. And then we get a united front and do what's best for the team. It doesn't sound to me like any of this thing was going on. It doesn't sound to me like anybody had the freedom or the voice to go to the coach and say, hey, I don't know about this right here.
Well, it's tough conversations, right? Isn't that what they said? That they're having trouble. It's the uncomfortable conversations, which to me, I get it. It's a big money industry. Once you get to that level, you kind of just want to do your job. Don't upset the olive branch or, upset the factory that's going on. But at the same time, what is your ultimate goal as a team?
That's it.
And if it's to be great and to win, then trying to walk on eggshells about feelings, that's not winning mentality, because if you're going to bite your lip, then you're complicit in the things that are going wrong. And so all these players coming out now here today and over the last few weeks and even the last few months since essentially the Washington game to say, oh, well, we need discipline and this guy's going to clean this up. You guys could have cleaned this up too. And you hold your own accountability in this. So while you guys are saying these things, that's great, but I would also like to hear some personal accountability, because you guys as a team and a collective, you guys are professionals, and it's time for you guys to step up and take some.
It just doesn't matter anymore, guys.
It does.
No, it doesn't.
It does matter, because unless you're going to get who are these players then? We're going to clean this up. Next guy's not going to allow this crap. Who was allowing what crap and who was the one pulling the crap? Because get those players out of here then. It does matter. They're only getting rid of how many players next year? Not anybody of real significance. So that you're telling me that we have players that don't have the right kind of character because they can't have their own standard that they hold themselves to. They need a coach to have to hold them to that standard. Right. I don't buy that.
So let's just reset everything. Let's go through another 3-year rebuild. Let's just keep going through this cycle. Who's the worst head coach the Bears have had since Lovie Smith?
Trestman.
Okay. I would like to make an argument here that Matt Eberflus is right there next to him. That's how bad it was. Everything we're talking about here is about that. It's about a lack of accountability. It always starts with the head coach. Why are the Denver Broncos so far ahead of their over-under win total this year and going to the playoffs?
Head coach.
I don't disagree.
Because of Sean Payton, okay? I get what you're saying, and I'm not saying that the players don't deserve some blame here, but Thomas Brown's sitting up there and basically just being like, dude, this was so far of a lost cause.
I couldn't get them together after that.
But like, what is he supposed to do in November? When you start letting things slide just a little bit, it's human nature for people to bust that door open and to take what you give them. And this happened over 3 seasons. It's not like Trestman's been here for 5 – or Trestman. I might as well call him Trestman. Eberflus has been here for 2 seconds. This was 3 seasons, man.
It hasn't just been 3 seasons, though, Adam. If you want to pass the blame on, then let's keep passing it along. This hasn't just been going on for 3 seasons. This team and this organization's been broken for 4 decades. And since George
But you're
McCaskey,
making my point for me.
So then, okay, then it's not the coaches. You're saying it's the coach's fault. It's George. Let's just go right to the top. It's George McCaskey setting this precedent for this organization. Because what is the record for the Chicago Bears since he's become the man in charge? So then forget it. It's not Poles' fault. It's not the coach's fault. It's not the player's fault. It's George McCaskey's fault. That's it. And then there's nothing else to discuss. If we're only going to blame the person above us every time and not hold ourselves accountable, and I don't agree with that, by the way, because we have a structure here where we have a GM, we have a CEO. You're the leader of this insane group unit of the CHGO Bears, and we also all hold each other accountable.
Yeah, with that analogy, you know what? It is the player's fault. It is the player's fault.
Exactly right. We hold each other accountable. We are not afraid to have these conversations. We don't wait for our bosses to come in and break up whatever fight we're having. We air it out and figure it out ourselves, because that's how a team that's wanting to win it acts.
Yeah, so I think like that's the problem. We hear about all this like collaboration and we all agree. I think that's a problem, because I've been in a lot of football rooms. You talking about an NFL staff, you're talking about 25, 30 men and women. Y'all all agree we have a problem here, right? The four of us couldn't agree about one single concept in football right now if we wanted to, right? Somebody would disagree.
Sure.
That's how it's supposed to be though, right? And when I was coaching, we would have our meetings Sunday night to prepare for the next week. And every single Sunday, we left damn near ready to fight about what you thought was the best way to go win this next game. And that's just how it's supposed to be. And then we go out there and we put the game plan in and we see what happens on Friday. But that's just this idea that we all on the same page. No, inside the war room, we had the opportunity to go into the Bears draft war room and talk to Ryan Poles. This was off the record. But on the wall, there's something up there that says something to the effect, I can't quote it, but something to the effects of, feel free to like disagree, right? We got to be able to disagree about this, that, and the third. And like, then I don't see that happening, because you can't tell me we all want to do this or all want to do that. We got to be able to express ourselves and hear each other out.
It just feels like a very weird situation right now with all the players calling everybody out and asking for leadership. And then if you want to be like positive, look, they were a field goal away from sweeping the Packers, block field goal away, right? I see your look, Herb. I agree with you. But 4 playoff teams had the Commanders beat. They're in the playoffs. Had the Lions beat. Might win the Super Bowl. Had the Vikings, right there beat. And yet,
it was the same stuff last year. We outplayed Detroit twice last year, right? And so that was one of the reasons for optimism coming into this season, right?
Yeah. So you're saying they're far away? Am I hearing that right?
I don't think anybody's far away. The Broncos were terrible last year. Now they're a playoff team. So no, you don't have to be far away. But I'm saying if you aren't doing something different, you'll forever be as far away as you are.
I hear you. And let's see here. Okay, great. I got it. Listen, this is the plan. They're going to bring in Ben Johnson. He wants to come here, and everyone's going to listen, and Lance Briggs is going to reappear, and the Chicago Bears are going to win 11 games in 2025.
Right.
You know I talked to you earlier today, right?
Yeah, I know. I did.
Okay.
That's right.
I looked at –
Right, Hoge. Run away. Run away.
No player accountability.
What I thought.
Briggs for Hoge.
Oh, yeah.
So
it's covering the Falcons next year.
Can you, in the most dysfunctional Bears locker room that you were in, Lance, does this remind you of that? Because the general manager, for the record, has said over and over again that he loves the locker room. And by the way, the videos that came out yesterday, everybody shouting out TB, celebrating, feeling good about themselves. Cairo doing the dance. Cairo trying to do the Lambeau leap, getting pushed down by Packers fans. Bears, players following them all around. Like, there was just a lot. Like, yesterday was a big-time celebration. Colt Kmet jumping up in the air when the ball goes through.
It's a great way to end the year.
Guys are feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah.
But yet, everywhere you turn in there, we need more accountability. It's weird to me.
It's tough to get all that, everything that you're asking for nowadays. There's a lot of rules changing. There's a lot of you have a lot of psychs that are in the building now. Coach goes off on a player. He also has to go back to that player and say, hey, pat him on the back and say, hey, I'm just trying to coach you. I just want you to know that I care about you. And it's a different era that we're in, and so a lot of that stuff comes into play and taking away. Like it's a lot of analytics, it's a lot of analytics. And then you ask analytics to take over a violent sport, and these are part of the problems. This stuff does happen. And unfortunately it happened while I was there on the back end, you know, and you're seeing some of that here with this squad.
Well, and today, literally today, Caleb's asking, you know, what do you want? I want somebody who will pull me aside. I want somebody who's going to coach me hard. I want somebody who's going to speak truth to me. I want to be coached. That's what your hopeful leader to be is asking for. He wants, and people, by the way, it's easy to say that on some level. Sure. This is what I want.
Sure.
And then in the moment when you've got some lunatic yelling at you and being able to digest it, hear it, put it into use, and not hold it as some weird grudge and want to kill the guy. He
put it in the air though, Carm. He put it in the air for everybody to hear.
Yeah, he did.
You know, so you know, you can't take those words back. So you get what you asked for, and whether you like it or not, you're going to get results.
Did y'all catch that little bit of a discrepancy between Coach Brown and Caleb? Coach Brown's like, yeah, we've had some heated conversations, mostly one-sided, mostly me talking to him, right? And Caleb was in the locker room, and he's like, yeah, TB's been cussing me out. I've been cussing him out. And it's like, that ain't the same thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not the same thing. And it's neither, I don't have a problem with either one, so long as we get the right result coming out. I'm just saying, like, it's a little bit of a different spin on the same conversation.
Yeah, and I don't know if I believe that Caleb is cussing out Thomas Brown.
Yeah, I don't necessarily believe that either.
I mean, maybe he is, but
I can't see him going like full Cuddy on the field. Like, tell Mike Marshall I said him.
Well, and Thomas Brown's a real dude now. Like to come at him hard would not be that easy. Yes, Greg.
Nothing.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to jump in on some level of cussing people out.
No.
Okay.
But if you'd like, I can do that.
I can't wait for.
Brax, would you have any problems cussing out your players if you were a coach?
Hell no.
No, you wouldn't hold back.
Hell no. I cuss Carman out once every 2 weeks.
There you go.
Like Hoge just said, every 2 days.
I do think
Hoge was cussing me out last night.
The best leaders that I've been around, have always been, and I'll use Urlacher as an example. Urlacher will be quick to cuss you out. Quick to cuss you out because he knows what everybody's supposed to be doing on the defense on every play. But he's also going to come up to you later on, or during the next series or so, and he's going to say, hey, listen, that we're passionate. I love you, and I just, I know you can I know you can do better. I know you can play well. I've seen you play. It's one of those conversations. He would always follow up after you get cussed out. Now, you might get cussed out again, but that's part of that accountability. That's a part of holding your teammates steady.
And that's the thing. And I know fans are tired of this conversation. I think I'm all tired. We're tired of covering it. But it is a reality. It's not just narrative. These players are saying it. Like and I said it the other day, you can either believe what they're saying or not. Mm-hmm. And if you don't believe what they're saying, then the players themselves are the problem. So if that's what if we're not going to believe how they're explaining the culture and what they need to change moving forward.
Well, it seems to me that the Bears, that Ben Johnson is the favorite right now, that things just went awry in Jacksonville, that yes, he's meeting with New England, but New England probably is going to hire Mike Vrabel. And Ben Johnson seems like he's ready to be a head coach, and it feels like the Bears are, I would assume, are going to come close to, if not, meeting exactly his contract needs. Is this the right guy for what they need right now? Because it doesn't sound like sexy coordinator guy is what these guys are talking about.
We don't know. I mean, that's the thing. I'm not gonna.
I don't hear guys. I don't hear guys saying like, we need somebody who's going to get our offense where it needs to be. Now that would be a different thing to say. They're all talking about leadership. All of them.
Again, to me, you have offensive coaches. You have defensive-minded offensive coaches. Jim Harbaugh is a defensive-minded offensive coach. Okay, he understands the value of defense and why his offense needs to keep his defense, good job of keeping his defense off the field. Okay, and when I say that, they run the ball.
Run game, right?
They run the ball. They had one of the best run games in every stop that he's been in. They had one of the best run games. You look at Michigan's team right now. They had the best run game in all of college football.
Trenches.
Okay? In the trenches. It's one in the trenches. He understands that. Ben Johnson he's coming with 2,000-yard rushers. You tell me a better way that you can protect the defense when you have 2,000-yard rushers. So what it sounds to me like is he's a defensive-minded offensive coach. You can win with that.
I can respect it, but I also have to look at the total picture.
Yep.
And I see 3 Pro Bowl O-linemen.
No doubt.
I see a wide receiver with 4.2 speed. I see one of my running backs with 4.2 speed.
Yep.
Like this is a lot of weapons, and we always think that we could just drop something in Chicago and they can cook the same way they cooked at Detroit or at USC or at wherever. And it's like there's a lot more around this thing. And what I hope the most that comes out of this 2024 Bears season is that we become smarter Bears fans. I really hope that as a collective, we become smarter Bears fans as a result of this 2024 season.
Okay,
because we thought that even with all these things going on around any quarterback, that we could just drop him in and he was going to be Patrick Mahomes. And that's freaking insane. And it's also equally insane to think you're going to drop any head coach in here and he's going to become Bill Belichick. It's freaking insane. You need all these other things around him. Right? Caleb can be as talented as we hope he is. He's never going to reach his full potential with that group of O-linemen in front of him, with the play calling that he's had this year, with the leadership that he's had from the top. It takes more than that. And yet I see the same kind of conversations going on around. So we make all the excuses for why, well, we didn't see Patrick Mahomes his first year. No shit, you didn't see Patrick Mahomes his first year. You weren't going to, right? But we can make all the excuses for why he wasn't that. But then in the same evaluation, we'll say, well, the running back sucks.
Right.
I promise you it's not a shot at you, Carl. Right? But he's running behind the same.
Fired.
No. Because he's not the only one having this conversation. I'm hearing this all around Bears talk. Yeah. DeAndre Swift is this. He's inadequate here and there. It's like, whoa. You defend Caleb because he's playing behind these 5 dudes. Is he not running behind the same 5 dudes?
Absolutely.
Right. Different.
Absolutely.
I hear you. I hear you. And I'm not saying that DeAndre Swift's the big problem.
I don't disagree that, like, I've even made the New Year's resolution that I'm not going to get overhyped. Let's see the results. We'll get, as Bears fans, we always get ahead of our skis. And as the offseason goes, as we get into training camp, we start dreaming of the most perfect path for the team. And we don't want to consider the worst case scenarios, which ultimately have came to fruition the last few years. But at the same time, when you say, well, it's not all going to come together, it does with good coaching. And most fans, 95% of fans, said to get a new head coach last offseason. Mm-hmm. So they were smart in that regard. I'll have the fans back as the meatball and the mayor of Bears Twitter. But at the same time, we all said, go get Jim Harbaugh. I think all of us agree the Bears would have a better win-loss record with Jim Harbaugh. And when you look at quarterbacks like Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix, they're heading to the playoffs as rookie quarterbacks. So, yes, you can sit a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, Jordan Love, let them bake in the oven, see how they come out. But good coaches understand their personnel, understand who their quarterback is, and with the coaching staff the Bears had this year, that failed them. It's not failing in Denver. It's not failing in Washington. Good for them. But it is possible when you have a good coaching staff. And while I had my reservations about bringing Eberflus back, I don't think anybody could have anticipated just how much of a disaster Shane Waldron would be, despite the fact that JSN tried to warn us.
You can have good coaching. I agree with most of what you're saying, Braggs, but you can have good coaching and your personnel you still have to go out and execute. So you can be a good coach and
work hand in hand. You
can be a good coach. You can be coached well, but if they're not out there executing, you know what I mean? They're out there executing, then it's all for naught. You know what I mean? And I saw Rod Marinelli coach a Detroit Lions team to 0-16. You know, he's a damn good coach. One of the best coaches I've ever been around. You know, they didn't win a game in Detroit. You know, and I can't say that he doesn't coach the details because I learned more from him in year 9 and 10. I wish I'd have learned when I was younger. And these are fine details. Like, shoot, I wish I'd have known this my rookie year. These are things I could have used. These are tools I could have used to be a better player. So it's, just saying, I mean, I agree with you.
It works hand in hand. That's a really good point. Really good point.
Right. You need talent.
Need something, a little bit.
You need leadership.
Mm-hmm.
You need protection. All the things.
Play calling.
I don't think anything this offseason is going to make me smile ear to ear with the Bears. All right, because we're such a prove-it situation. However, if Ben Johnson gets hired as the head coach and in free agency we get 3 offensive linemen,
I'll be ear to ear. I'll be smiling ear to ear.
Right, you know what I mean? So these are the next steps. So he gets hired, free agency comes, we get 3 linemen, and some role players or some transition players. Then we go into the draft and we draft more interior.
Come on.
Now, you know what I mean? I'm saying it's a prove it. I'm big time. You got to prove it. I'm not going to be ear to ear, but I will have a smirk on my face.
So I'm still giving Poles the benefit of the doubt. I am not on the fire Poles train. Yep. I'm not on it, right? I think he went backwards, but he still has an opportunity to get it right. So now you got all these weapons. Now, can you go find a way to solidify the front so that you can get them the ball? And then I'm okay. Then I'm cool.
Right.
Figure out the head coach and then go get 3-4 new old linemen, get a couple pieces on that defensive line. You got ample resources to do it. Mm-hmm. You do that, come training camp, I'll be like, hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just ask a question as we wrap this up, and we're going to get to Lance's grades here. We got grades we got the professor's grades for win over the Packers, final week of the season, and we got season-long grades.
Season long.
It'd
be a cumulative.
But let's just say for hypothetical reasons. By the way, breaking here from Schefter, the Bears have sought permission to interview Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy and are awaiting a response from Dallas.
Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Well, let me ask
what have they been doing for 5 weeks? Wasn't this supposed to be like the narrowing down period or the vetting period?
We're literally asking for. So who's on the list? McCarthy,
me, you,
Brian Flores, Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, Pittstig,
Vance Joseph,
Vrabel. Who,
Gary's got us at 9.
I mean,
that is the question. How many too many?
We're there.
That many is too many.
Because last year they had 10 offensive coordinators
and chose
and
the
then
worst
they
one.
only took one on a second interview.
Because Greg Roman is out there leading the Chargers to the playoffs. Thomas Brown becomes your interim head coach. Like how you interview these dudes and end up with what we chose. But anyway, I digress.
No, but this is where I'm okay. It's cool. Cast a wide net. Go ahead.
You know what it is?
Talk to her. But this is what they did in the offensive coordinator thing. They interviewed 13 people, and somehow they figured the only guy that they should talk to again was Shane Waldron, and they hired him.
To be fair, you know what it is, guys? They know they're hiring Ben Johnson.
They do.
The Lions are going to the Super Bowl, so you've got like a month to. What are you going to do for the next month?
We're going to talk to everybody in the NFL about how we can be better. Okay.
Everybody.
You could have just Rooney ruled it one time and waited. just Rooney rule it and then wait.
And that'd be more of a show of, Ben, you're our guy.
You got to do
request Ben Johnson and no one else, and just stand there.
I mean, you're gonna interview Thomas Brown. There's your Rooney rule, and then wait for Ben to.
And by the way, not on that list is Pete Carroll, who.
I don't know who my favorite Tete is.
Last night, a super chatter said that Lance was his favorite Tete player. So we have replaced the word favorite with favorite Tete on our Red Monday here on the CHGO Bears
That's
podcast.
Right. Red, firing. Fire, red. Got it.
No, it's more like blood.
Sure.
Because of the guillotine.
Death. Monday. Death.
Well, because, I mean, you've probably never seen Game of Thrones, Carm, but Red Wedding was a...
I've seen, Great Game of Thrones.
A cold episode.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I've seen it, but I have zero interest.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a famous episode called The Red Wedding.
Oh, yeah, the Red Wedding episode. Yeah. No, I know that episode.
There's a massacre.
Yeah. Have you seen have you heard of the Battle of the Bastards?
I think I've maybe heard of that, but not
that's
as much as I've heard of the Red Wedding. It's happening right now. All right. Top of the hour. Appreciate everybody on the Die Hard train who's done it. And if you haven't, we'd love to have you join us. Free T-shirt in the door, allchgo.com, discount on our merch. Shout out to everybody who came to our Bulls takeover, sweet takeover, absolutely phenomenal event. People spending some serious dollars to do the first class experience in D Rose. Get honored on Saturday night.
Awesome.
Blackhawks sold out too. We got a ton of stuff coming for you. But all right, Lance Briggs, let's get to these grades.
Get to it.
Put the professor. I like to.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where's your glasses, dude?
Let's go.
I'm gonna put my glasses on.
Let me see that one right there. Yeah. Yes, the professor is back. Yes, he is. I would put no B+. There's no way. That is the lowest grade I've given this year. Gentlemen, week 18, playing against the Packers 2s and 3s, but so what? Grades are higher. All right? This is the way to finish. I'm going offense first. Let's go offense. I said give offense a C-. The numbers weren't high. They weren't high, but you know what? Offense, they were able to put up enough points. They moved the ball when they needed to and put our team in position to win the game at the very end.
No real – I graded it out higher just because didn't turn the ball over, made the play when you had to. But so I think, well, at least to the QB, I gave him a B+.
They didn't rush very much. They rushed for under 100 yards. They threw for under 200 yards.
65 from Swift.
Right.
3 yards from Roshan.
Mm-hmm. So it's hard to give him something higher than somewhere in that C range.
Yeah, I don't think you can go higher. I was considering going lower, but I think you're 100. I think you're 100% right though, because there's always more than one way to win a game, and we've always we gotta get to the point where we're throwing for 350 every week. Well, he's thrown for 350 a couple times, and guess what happened?
Blown out.
You know what I mean? Like no. So cool. We more balanced offense. You take advantage of good special teams. Take advantage of good defense. Jalen Johnson got the punch out, left you in the red zone. Get the punt return for a touchdown. That's 14 points. You get the one drive together where DJ gets the 32-yard screen for a touchdown, and then you go down when the game matters. So, yeah, I'm with you. That's good. That factors in. I'm with it.
All right. Shout out to my guy, by the way. I see him in here, Jose Chavez, back and forth.
Oh, my God. He's asked you like 7 times. I have never seen someone that's a bigger fan of Mark Carman.
Well, Jose.
Scary.
First of all,
honestly, it's scary.
Think about
you paid him under the table.
The thing about Jose that I love is that he's determined.
Incessant.
He's determined, and he's going to get what he wants. And I know somebody else on this set that's like that, who with his hat on backwards. So you should appreciate what Jose's going about here.
Looking at Herb's. It was me.
So Jose, hey, full Jordan shout out coming for you later. But I see you, and I appreciate you, and you're the man. Back to the grades.
All right, my guy Jose. You're probably like the defensive grade. I gave him a C+. Listen, they were really good on third down. They were very good on third down. I think the rushing yards obviously were way too much. They held them pass yards under 200. And, to me, over 21 points, when you get over 17 points, that is one of those calls that takes you out of that A and that B range.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, this was one of their better performances on this back end of the year. Just couldn't get it past that C+.
Trying to think if I want to push back how hard here. Not that hard. Not that hard. I
2s and 3s.
It's fine. It's totally fine.
We
that one.
Yeah.
Because I'm just here to celebrate beating Malik Willis.
You think about going up or down?
No, you know what? I'm right with Lance.
Yeah, I think
it's totally fine. We beat Malik Willis. Shout out to by the way, Bears fans, I love you to the end of the world, especially the ones yelling at me today. Was on the one video that we cut for me talking about how I was absolutely not wanting the Bears to win when they were winning on special teams and complete BS yesterday to lose 3 spots in draft choices because they beat the Packers. But I'm happy they beat the Packers because Caleb came through in the end. But y'all are beautiful. I appreciate you to the end of the earth. How much you love this football team and at times or most times hate me. That was a good thing to wake up to.
Back.
You
got
did.
your back.
You did.
I want nothing but the best for Christian Watson, but LaFleur saw him go down. He saw Love get his hand banged up. He's like, hey, shut it down. Everybody, sit down. Josh Jacobs, sit down.
Yep.
Love, sit down. At some point, Malik Willis on the deep ball, the 40-yard down the sideline, jump ball in front of Tyreek. Darrell Taylor came in and hit his hand, and he couldn't feel it. So that when they scored a touchdown, he couldn't throw the 2-point conversion. So he come off the sideline, he's like, my hand. And Jordan Love got up on the back of the bench, started throwing it. They was like, no. I don't care if you can throw it or not.
Right.
He's going back in there. Like,
right.
Not doing that.
Play these foolish games.
Yeah. By the way, chat, just informal Carm poll. Would you rather have the win yesterday versus Green Bay? That could be 1, or the 7th overall pick if they had lost. Win versus Green Bay 1, 7th overall pick 2.
You want that as a poll in the chat?
Yeah.
It's going to be like 95%.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see.
A, because they already won, and B, because everyone's going to want you to be wrong.
We'll see what happens. 1 for the win, 2 for you
see
have the 7 overall pick.
Shall speak. 3
up higher. Herb?
I said this to Nick in the booth yesterday when it was happening, and I was just like, yo, I was kind of joking. Actually, I said on the elevator coming down. I was kind of joking, but the more I thought about it, I was like, no, that's kind of for real. Them winning the game yesterday probably turned this into the best season they've had in like 5 years.
The best season they've had in 5 years?
Slow down now.
I'm not. What season was better? Go. 2020?
Last year.
2021?
1-7.
22?
Yeah, we did
23? Because 23, we like, no, that wasn't it. So let's start over. And this season was going literally to hell, and then they went to Lambeau and won the game. And it's terrible this season has been. Just going up there, and now Caleb's 1-0 at Lambeau. Tell me why another season in the last 5 years has been better. I'll listen.
Wow. When you say like that makes me want to jump right into Lake Michigan. And never return.
I'll listen. I'll listen, but
I would agree with you from a standpoint of the fact that they're, I think, better set up now, even though they've got a whole lot of work to do as far as getting it right. But you have a rookie quarterback.
Just that quick. That's how bad we've been. It went from one of the worst seasons I've ever experienced or been a fan of to they go up into Lambeau and they get a win, and it's a last-second drive by Caleb and the guys, and that's the best season the Bears have had in 5 years.
All right, back to you, Professor.
Great finish.
Great
finish. All right, here we go. Special teams. I gave special teams a B+. Listen, when you go
gotta
down,
get an A.
You go down and you kick the game-winning field goal. You definitely kicked yourself right into that A and B range. B+ is the same as an A-.
Why are you docking them from the A?
Is it because Tyler?
You hated the reverse. You hated the reverse later in the game, didn't you?
I hated that reverse. That was, it was the most obvious play. Like we didn't see it coming. Listen, I thought that this B+ was gracious. Like I said, a B+ is as good as an A-.
I want to talk to the dean. I want to talk to the dean because they pulled off a phenomenal trick punt return that went for a 94-yard Sunday stroll, shout out to Jeff Joniak, to the end zone. They hit a 51-yard game winner. Hey, man.
Listen, guys.
They erased the demon from week 11.
That to me, especially was A+. One of the greatest plays in Bears special teams history yesterday.
Listen, guys. All grades are final. However,
want to see the
we're changing that to an A+. We're changing that to an A+.
All right. A+.
You're right.
Thank you.
Got him.
You got him. You got the professor. You got him. You're right.
Soft spot today.
It was, that's what happens. You become emeritus.
Grading on the curve.
Yeah. Coaching. Listen, regardless of who we were playing against the doggone Packers. Okay. Coaching gets a B. We get a win, and we finish the season the right way.
I can dig that.
First win for interim coach.
Yeah.
I mean, the go for 2, go for 1 thing was a little wonky, but I still
that was strange.
Yeah. But he just realized he was wrong, and then he said, "Okay, just give me that 1 point. We'll go up 8. I'm cool."
Yeah, it ended up not mattering, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
By the way, Paul Jackson in the chat. If that's not Cap's cousin, I don't know who is.
It's true.
Wow.
That's a dead hit. Are we gonna do season long? We got season long grades?
We got season long grades, guys. All right, season long grades. All right.
Bonus edition.
So we start with the offense. All right. And over the course of the season, this offense had 7 Fs, 4 Cs, 2 As, and 2 Bs.
Look at the way Briggs keeps his tallies. I'm impressed.
Which brings the professor to a total of a C. Ooh. Yep.
That's the average?
That's what that averaged out to. Maybe a little bit lower, but I'm
rounding up.
You are in a great mood today.
Softer, you know.
Well, the Bears beat the Packers, and look what it does to Professor
You know what I
Briggs.
mean?
He starts grading up on that curve.
You know, got to find some positives.
He's handing out Fs, and now one Packers win, and now we're
it was a lot of Fs, right? It was a lot of Fs.
It was a lot of Fs.
The coordinator got fired. We saw 22 different O-line combinations.
Yeah.
We didn't
no
score at all.
1,000-yard rusher, no 1,000-yard receivers.
Right. It might be
right there.
that may be a little bit high. Listen, we're going.
I'm just saying.
This is one of those years, boy. We're gonna have to change that. We're gonna have to change that one to a solid D.
Okay.
We definitely gonna have to change that to a solid D. 7 Fs.
3,500.
27 O-line combinations. Appreciate you, Gary.
You're right. You guys
Most
listen.
in the
You
NFL.
guys are right. All right.
3,500 yards, 20 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. You can make a C argument.
Okay.
That's not. You can make it.
I'm actually glad that we have this discussion. Here we go. Defense. Defense over the course of the year had 5 Fs, but they had 4 As.
Come on.
They had 3 Bs.
Come on.
2 Cs.
Let's go.
And 2 Ds. That the professor averaged out to a C plus.
Yep.
And for that, it just shows you just how much Jekyll and Hyde that defense was. From being one of the best in football to being one of the worst in football in the second half.
4 A's and 3 B's. That's 7 games right there, fellas.
I like it. I like it.
Okay. Carm, you good?
I mean, I'm just waiting for someone to get to the quarterback. So I'm waiting for Tremaine to make a play. I'm waiting for I'm waiting for a lot of things, but C minus is what I would have done. But go ahead.
Okay. Special teams. Special teams over the course of the season had 6 C's, 4 B's, 2 D's, 2 F's, and 1 A. That averaged out to a B minus.
Wow.
I think that's pretty good for them.
Wow.
Pretty good, huh?
I think that's
Torrey Taylor, stand up.
Woo! 4th round picks.
Yes.
So we had
the block.
We had a block potential game winner cost us a game. Yes. We had DeAndre Carter muff a punt cost us a game.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there's more plays in the game. But I'm just saying those things happen, right?
Bayless kicked 30 yards, but it didn't cost him a game.
It didn't.
Mm-hmm. Shout out
to Will Levis.
No, they had a block punt in that game.
Mm-hmm.
They did.
That basically won it.
We had some games.
2 straight field goals blocked. End of the Packers game, beginning of the Vikings game.
That's probably part of those 2 Fs.
All right, B minus seems a little generous, Professor, but
seriously,
6 C's, 4 B's.
Torrey Taylor showed you what up.
Woo!
I love Coach Hightower, so I'm good for that.
All right, fellas. So, coaching. Over the course of the season, the coaches had 5 Fs.
Oh boy.
5 Ds, 3 B's, and 1 A, which averaged out to an F.
As in fired.
Yes.
Wow.
As in
but yeah.
Fair,
but T. Brown, I'm not giving him an F.
No, just as a staff, not him
staff.
individually.
Yeah, this
just
is
collectively.
collectively. Yeah, he's a part of that.
Yeah, his signature's on it.
Mm-hmm. He was coaching he was the OC in that 5 Fs.
Okay.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What a year. What a year for Professor Briggs' grades.
His 3 weeks as OC had to factor in what was the offense cumulative grade?
It was
C.
Yep. Okay.
C.
So if the offense had a cumulative C,
D. We changed that to D.
We did move it down to D.
You're talking me. You're
and
right.
And Coach Brown had the 3 best weeks when he took over as OC. They were putting up 28, 30. Mm-hmm. So definitely not on him for the F, but
this fellas gets us to a GPA of
2.19. gets us to a GPA of retake the course, run it bike. We must do it again.
So we have more breaking news coming across the waiver wire of the mean streets of Bears Twitter. Tom Pelissero. The Bears put in a request to interview Ravens offensive coordinator Todd Monken for their head coaching job.
One more. Line them up.
Listen. Now are we up to 10 or yep, we're up to 10. Gary Ross has confirmed in the chat 10 candidates.
Hey, Bud, can I ask you a question? Does his offense in Baltimore align with the personnel in Chicago?
No, we don't have right now. We don't have the personnel right now because of our offensive line. Our offensive line doesn't fit anybody's personnel right now, anybody's scheme. However, what I love about that interview is the Ravens style of offense. The Ravens style of offense is a run first style. They're one of the most consistent teams in the NFL. They get to the playoffs every year. This is a chance. They have another chance this year. I think they have a chance to really go to the big game. They play very good defense. Obviously they're good on special teams. Their head coach is a former special teams coach.
Right.
But I really like that Ben Johnson is an interview consideration. The Ravens offensive coordinator is a consideration. I like that direction.
Can we cap it at 10?
No.
We cannot?
It doesn't seem like they're going to. I mean, we're not even halfway through Black Monday. They've already got 10 interview requests in there. And I don't care what anybody says. I know I brought it up the other day. It was pissing people off on Bears Twitter, as I typically do. But I swear, and we talked about it, on Bears After Dark, when we were doing the 5 for 55 a few weeks ago, when we were trying to figure out who's going to win this college football playoff. And both of us kind of came to the conclusion that Notre Dame was a dark horse in that bracket. I don't know, for whatever reason, maybe because I'm an ND fan and now they're starting to pull at my heartstrings, even though I gave up on them after they lost to Northern Illinois. The way Marcus Freeman outcoached Kirby Smart, and not only that, but just how he did in that game, and how the team looked,
how they looked,
and then where he got them to draw off sides, by running them off, team on, and then bringing the offense on. That was big time coaching move there on a big stage, and then you combine that with the fact that the Bears looked into him, and more than a few people reported it, including our guy over here, Adam Hoge. I don't know, for whatever reason, I'm like, man, if the Notre Dame Fighting Irish somehow win a national championship, is this dude's name going to start? Because I know he signed an exception.
They signed him real quick.
They signed him, and I get that, but that doesn't mean that he can look at the NFL, even though he signed that extension. I know it's a huge long shot, and them still winning the national championship is, something that may or may not happen.
For that, right there, for them.
Yeah, I don't want him going anywhere as an ND fan, but I just wonder if he wins the national championship, is all of a sudden his name going to start popping back up in NFL circles?
Well, whenever you win, that's always going to happen,
right?
Listen, watch at Washington, Jetfish. He wins at Washington. They go to the national championship, or they're in that college football playoff. He gets a consideration for the NFL. Good chance he may go.
We'll know for sure that Freeman is leaving the moment he says, I'm not going anywhere. As soon as he's like, hey, I'm here. I love that Notre Dame. I'm not leaving South Bend. He'll be in the league.
Well, I expect the Bears to interview Freeman because Hoge reported that there was a little bit of interest there, at least kicking the tires around there, something of that ilk. So, I mean, we're interviewing everybody else. The Todd Monken thing.
Bears drafted him.
Hey, look, you're the OC on the best offense in football. You're working with the MVP or whatever.
Great offense.
1B MVP.
Yeah.
Hey,
40 touchdowns.
What do you want to tell us about how we can do this over here? I don't hate that play.
He's going to have
if he's willing to.
By the time he's done it at Indy, he's going to have a statue next to Lou Holtz.
Lou Holtz.
Freeman will.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I said I'd never believe in Notre Dame to win a national championship my whole life. Like, I gave up on them. Like, I just did, and now they've pulled me in. Damn it!
Is this the point in the show where you're now a diehard Notre Dame fan?
I've always been a Notre Dame fan, but I keep it sheltered. I've talked to Briggs about this. It's the one team that I refuse to let get my hopes up, but man, they're tugging at my heartstrings right now.
Man. You miss seeing Tony Rice and the Rocket Ishmael.
No, I'm more of the Tom Zibikowski days.
Zibbo.
They got screwed that year with the Bush push. So, I have some scars. The Bush push. You're too young to remember that.
I did not like Brady Quinn.
Yeah, but they were balling that year.
He's a 5-hour energy guy.
So
let's hit some super chats on the way out here. Appreciate everybody dialing in. Don't go anywhere for the next for the rest of your football life, let's be honest. But as far as the rumor mill and everything's going on here, any breaking news, anything happens, we'll be going live within a matter of moments. We'll be here every day.
Well, we got Bears After Dark tonight with Corey Wooten and Adam Rank, so I'll be on with those guys.
Ooh.
So we got a show coming up again here at 7 p.m. Central. So anything that happens between now and then, we'll cover.
You also need to rephrase it. They'll be on with you. It's Braggs After Dark. It's not Woot Show. It's not Rank Show. It's your show, and you allow them to join.
You guys are all in my world. Okay.
Without you.
Without me, you'd be nothing, Mark Carman.
That's right. All right. Donnie, I'm coming to Australia. I'm on my way. Going to the Aussie Open, and I'm never coming back to this podcast to make your dreams come true. All right.
Sure, it's easier to be a ball boy in Australia.
Ball person.
Nobody should
Ball
be a ball boy.
Ball man.
There you go.
Got a big match tomorrow. These things happen. All right. Can we
fumble? It's a
fumble.
May or may not be okay. I don't know.
Oh yeah, we may have.
Read the super chat.
Braggs' trowel. $10. Monken has had the best 4-year run of any OC these last 4. 2 at Georgia, 2 at Baltimore. Plus, he has head coach experience in college. Should be top of the list. All right, Braggs' trowel. He's in the mix here, baby. He's number 10, but clearly number 1 in Braggs' trowel's heart. $2 from Braggs in the stands. Is Ben Johnson the head coach yet? I love when Braggs super chats the show. That was amazing.
That was when,
while he's in.
I know that's why you were sitting over there.
It
was an amazing moment to have you not sit over there. $2 from Arctic. We won. I can play less. No mention of Justin Fields. Doe. Well, you just mentioned him.
Don't look at me. I didn't say nothing about him.
I'm just wondering if he's going to get it.
It's always my fault.
It was either your fault or your fault with the field stuff.
It's always my fault.
That's your guy.
I'm wondering if he's going to get
your guy.
Hey, Mike
Not
Tomlin.
anymore. He's Pittsburgh's guy.
Well,
Pittsburgh's
Mike
guy.
Tomlin.
Like I said, this season is going to end with Justin. The Steelers are going to get to the Super Bowl. Justin Fields is going to have 2 touchdowns.
He's going to score.
Just to put a bow on the last 12 months for Bears fans.
Start him over Russ.
Russ is going to get hurt.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Fields going to come in.
If Bears fans
I don't know why Mike Tomlin didn't put him in when they had 3rd and 1 and 2 against the Bengals, though. Like, if you're going to have him there, I'm sure he's got a package or 2. Put him in for that.
I'm telling you, he's going to go on a generational run in the playoffs
100%.
just to piss Bears fans off a little more.
100%. Build a system around him. What's okay.
Up next in the Super Chat world is... Oh, I thought we did Arctic. We didn't do Arctic? Oh, Parker. Parker, my guy. Parker, $2. Realistically, who will be our next head coach? F. Green Bay.
Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson is. If you had to bet, that's where you put your money on right now.
Yep.
$20 from Fliggerman. What's up, Fliggerman?
For later, is Braxton not an option at left tackle next year? Why do we have to invest heavily at left tackle? Braxton has been a decent starter. Is his injury that bad? It's about upgrading. For me, it's just about upgrading. It's not an indictment on Braxton. I think he's reached his ceiling. And I've said several times, I think that's a pretty big win for Ryan Poles to have a 3-4 year left tackle out of the 5th round from Southern Utah. But he's not going to be an elite player at the position. If you can get one, have at it.
How many times did Caleb get sacked this year?
68.
68. So to answer your question, we want to reduce 68. That's way too many times for our quarterback to get sacked.
Well, and I also think, how many more? We keep saying this is going to be the last year they're picking in the top 10. I said that last year, so I'm not going to say it again the rest of my life. But the fact that they are picking in the top 10, you have an opportunity.
That's where you get those guys.
You're drafting left tackles. You're not drafting a center in the top 10, potentially, if that's
They're also a situation where if you lean into Braxton, you're leaning into an injured guy come in his final year of his contract. And then are you paying him? It doesn't.
Yes.
It just
Braxton's not the answer.
It feels like that's going to move along.
Oh, this to Braxton.
Joseph Holoman, $10. Thank you, Joseph. I think Jenkins' answer reflects his and everyone's exhaustion with the organization's utterly stupefying, never-ending incompetency. Too bad today wasn't McCaskey's Pink Slip Monday.
You said it, Pink Slip Monday.
Yeah, there we go. Pink Slip Monday. We're going for it. I tend to agree with you on that, Joseph. Like, look, I don't feel appreciated here, and let me be the next David Montgomery and see if somebody else could pay me around what I'd get paid here, and maybe I'll have a better chance to win.
And run for 1,000 yards.
Yeah. No, that too.
Doug's best friend, $2. P in Gregory P. Allen Bragg stands for Purdue.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Well,
how'd you like that ass whooping?
I didn't. Congrats to the Boilermakers getting the Wildcats. Don't worry, we're coming for Sparty a week from Sunday. $10, Joseph Holoman. Another one. I agree with Braggs that everyone shares some blame, but it's ultimately on McCaskey. His role is to create the foundation, but he's allowed for one of unchanging, festering failure.
Oh.
Right, because when we talk about Washington and crediting the coaches and the roster for making the playoffs, well, they also had an ownership change up.
Yeah.
Detroit too. They changed how their ownership structure looked, and now their culture has changed. So that is a big part of it, and something that I think the Bears need to look inward.
George needs to fire himself. Total Malarkey, $20. As sad as I am to have lost, it took 12 games, and most Packer fans were starting to figure it was a matter of time. If my currently bad Badgers played the Bears 12 times, they might win one. It's hard to not drop 1 out of 12.
Wait a minute.
Listen,
Total Malarkey is a Packer fan?
Yeah.
It was confusing, Total Malarkey.
And a delusional Badger fan, too. I know Hoge is over there, but
if the Bears played the Wisconsin Badgers 12 times, they'd beat them 12 times.
And they beat them by 50 or 100 12 times.
Yep.
Crystal, you're our hero. Herb, why don't you read the Crystal?
Crystal, happy Victory Monday. Sending love. Everyone keep your expectations low. Don't allow this team to upset you. Huss, I heard you're super and we can make your resolution happen. We will plan something. Bear down and hit the like button.
Well, we already looked at the road trips next year. I mean, the Bears are going to Vegas. I don't see why CHGO wouldn't go to Vegas, right?
Good time.
Hit up our guy Derek at Circa.
Short trip from Arizona.
Yeah. Short trip on up.
Hit up our guy Derek at Circa. He could, give us the Circa suite.
Cracking. Last time I was there, last time the Bears played, well, that's not the last time I was there, but last time the Bears played there, great time. The Bears played that Sunday. That Saturday night, it was the Deontay Wilder and Fury fight.
Okay.
I had a great time that weekend.
Yeah.
Whew. Good times.
I mean, I had a great time when we were in Vegas. But I'd have a better time if we were staying at Circa. That would be a true story.
That'd be circumstantic.
What's that right? Lance, when do we see you next?
Thursday.
Me and Briggs will be on Thursday for CHGO Bears After Dark. It'll be on at 6 p.m. Central.
Herb?
It's fantastic in Circa.
I don't know, but this season has been fun. On the show has been fun, man. Loving the professor's grades every week and just having a little back and forth banter.
You crushed. You dominated, as you always do.
It's been fun, guys.
I mean, I'll be the best Herb I can be,
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Hey, thanks, everybody.
Man, let's go. We've started out hot.
Steven, thank you for producing. Hoge, thank you for hogging, dominating, and all you do, leading us to victory, damn it. Thank you to everybody who watched today. Hit that like button on the way out. Don't forget, what's your problem?
Just laughing at him. He keeps giving me these looks ever since I ran him off.
Subscribe on your way
just
out.
Went full Jalen Johnson on Brands.
Monday to Friday at 1, even though except today when we went at 2 because of everything that was going on. Poles is talking tomorrow. We'll crush with every angle of whatever is coming out of the GM's mouth. Maybe there'll be a contract extension announcement tomorrow. 5-year extension.
His boss already gave him an extreme vote of confidence. I don't know why everybody's waiting to hear like he's gotten fired. He's not getting fired.
Is he getting extended? I want to know.
I don't know. I don't even know what his contract is now.
Yeah. All right.
Just ask him, are you sorry?
To be continued. Brags After Dark coming up tonight at 7.
7 p.m. Central.
All right,
Adam Rain, Corey Wooten, and the Meatball.
Be back here in 3.5 hours. Talk to you then.